Hey guys, welcome to Emily Did It. This is your first time here. I'm Emily, and I probably did it. If it's not your first time here, welcome back, y'all. All right, as a Gen Xer, I feel like I have a grasp of this topic. So today we're going to check out the top 20 cringiest things from the 1980s. There's a lot of cringe, but I figure I want to see if their list correlates with my list. Well, let's just see what all they have to say. Are they right? Are they wrong? Oh, right off the bat. Blame for blame. Oh, that is the most unfortunate looking man. I'm sorry. Let's see.
Top 20 cringiest things from the 80s. The 1980s. What a wild, colorful, unforgettable decade. From outrageous fashion to booming pop culture and early tech trends, it was a time when more was always...
Your hair never looked like that. It's a crimper. Your hair never turned out like that. It's like all wonky and crazy and like ugh, horrible fad. Horrible. I may or may not have actually bought a crimper at the thrift store the other day. nothing sadder than old fat like Gen Xer with gray hair trying to crimp it. Got a janky shoulder. I'm trying to turn my head while I'm. I got 3 crimps in. I was like, this is why I hated it. But I will try not to pause too much. But I can tell you now, if you are one of my fellow Gen Xers, or if you are one that follows Emily Did It, you know that I have a difficult time shutting up. So I already know this is going to be broken into at least 2 parts. Maybe 3.
It's better. But let's be honest, some of it didn't age too well. Today, we're taking a fun and cringeworthy trip down memory lane to look at the most over-the-top...
Oh shit. I'm sorry, y'all. I guess Lady Diana was the first wall art. There's a ton of wall, but it was wall art. Yeah, I know. I'm going to hell. See you there.
A fun and cringeworthy trip down memory lane to look at the most over-the-top, awkward, and downright bizarre trends of the 80s. These were the things we all thought were cool back then, but now, you might just find yourself asking, what were we thinking? Geometric patterned shirts. In the 1980s, fashion wasn't just a style choice. It was a full-blown statement, and nothing shouted louder than those wild geometric patterned shirts. You know the ones. Bright, bold, and absolutely bursting with clashing shapes, zigzags, and colors that could practically give you a headache. It's like someone asked, how many triangles, squares, and neon stripes can we fit on one shirt? And designers responded, all of them, and then some. These shirts looked less like clothing and more like walking pieces of abstract art, modern museum-worthy, but on your uncle at a barbecue. And somehow, the crazier the pattern, the higher the price.
I mean, they were as ugly as Cosby sweaters.
Some of these chaotic masterpieces were selling for hundreds, even thousands of dollars, just because they had more overlapping lines or layers of geometric madness. Fashion in the 80s didn't whisper. It blared through boombox speakers. Today, these shirts are a guaranteed hit at any 80s themed party. But if you wear one on a regular Tuesday, don't be surprised if people think you stepped out of a time machine or straight out of a Miami Vice fever dream. One thing's for sure. Subtlety was not on the menu. Shoulder pads.
Ever.
If there's one fashion trend that truly defined the 1980s, it's shoulder pads. You couldn't turn on the TV, walk into an office, or flip through a catalog without seeing someone, usually a woman, rocking a blazer with shoulders wide enough to land a plane on. But shoulder pads weren't just a style statement. They were a power move. In a decade where more women were entering the workforce and climbing the corporate ladder, fashion
Horrible.
became armor.
And if you made the mistake of forgetting to take your shoulder pads out before you laundered your clothing, because they were all Velcroed in, then you wound up with this little poof of Velcro. It was like people would try and still do it. So you do it, so it's like lumpy popcorn. You look like you're kind of like Elephant Man type thing. It was bad. But on the upside, I am a big boned woman, and I loved it because I looked like I was wearing shoulder pads. I still do. It's just not as cute or fashionable now. Always wish I had a petite frame. Who cares what I want? God said, this is what you got.
Women were entering the workforce and climbing the corporate ladder. Fashion became armor. Wearing a structured suit with sharp shoulder pads told the world, I'm just as capable, just as strong, and I belong in this boardroom. Icons like
but
Margaret
no.
Thatcher and Joan Collins on Dynasty made the look legendary. Those commanding silhouettes gave off confidence, authority, and just a touch of glam. But over time, the look went from fierce to, well, kind of funny. The bigger the pads got, the more cartoonish they started to look. Still, fashion is a cycle. Believe it or not, shoulder pads made a comeback in the late 2010s and into the 2020s, though thankfully, a bit more subtle this time around. New Coke.
They should
When
have.
you think of soda, you think of Coca-Cola.
Oh my God. That was a horrific, I think, government experiment that we all got sucked into. Put it this new Coke. Bullshit. I think that they did that so that they could sell that and then rebrand Coke Classic, which if it was really Coke Classic, it would have cocaine in it. But yeah, it was an ugly, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times with the new age Coke.
America's classic. But in the early 1980s, Pepsi started stealing the spotlight. Taste tests were showing younger consumers preferred Pepsi's sweeter flavor, and Coca-Cola's dominance was slipping. So, what did Coke do? They changed everything. In 1985, they introduced New Coke, a reformulated version of their beloved soft drink. It was smoother, sweeter, and meant to compete head-to-head with Pepsi. The launch came with glitzy ads, catchy slogans, and a whole lot of confidence. But America wasn't having it. People missed the original. Fans were outraged. Late-night hosts joked about it. Stores were flooded with complaints. And loyal drinkers even started grassroots campaigns demanding the return of Coca-Cola Classic. Just 79 days after launching New Coke, the company gave in and brought the original formula back to national celebration. Some even
Absolutely.
believe it was all a clever marketing ploy. Make them miss it, then bring it back stronger. Whether that's true or not, one thing's clear. Coke may have stumbled, but they came out on top. In the end,
Always.
the New Coke saga didn't just change soda, It became one of the boldest marketing misfires, or masterstrokes, in pop culture history. Clocks on chains, wristwatches, class.
Blame, blame. That man has made more money out of wearing a damn clock on his chain than most people will make in their entire lifetimes. And I gotta say, he's got to be pretty freaking smart. He's kept it together all this time. He's continued to make money off of his just persona. So, I mean, you got it, bud.
Culture history. Clocks on chains, wristwatches, classic, pocket watches, vintage,
Sure.
but clocks on chains. Now that's something
Blame.
only the 1980s could dream up and make happen. Enter Flavor Flav, the hype man of Public Enemy.
No. People, do not let AI do the narration. Flavor Flav? It's like that really nasty dessert flan. Just bleh. Sounds terrible, tastes terrible. It's like sinking a fork into a moose loogie. It's bad.
And the undisputed king of wearing actual wall clocks around his neck. And we're not talking tiny novelty items. These were full-blown, pull-it-off a doctor's waiting room clocks, swinging from gold chains like they belonged in a museum, or maybe a furniture store. In a
Yep.
1994 interview with MTV, Flavor Flav explained that it all started with stopwatches, then escalated to full clocks. Why?
Wait, is that okay? Leave it down below if I'm right. Leave it down below if I'm wrong and why I'm wrong. But is this not Darius Rucker from either Hootie and the Blowfish or CMT's Rock Me Mama Like a Wagon Wheel, Rock Me Mama Anyway? Just saying, even him in the All Day I Dream About Sex shirt.
Because in his words, time is heavy, man. Time is heavy. For him, it was a message, a reminder of how valuable time is in our lives. And somehow, that message became a fashion statement. Let's be honest, almost no one else could pull it off. But for Flav, it became iconic. It's still his signature look to this day. Whether you think it was genius or just plain ridiculous, there's no denying. Clocks on chains were a uniquely 80s form of self-expression. Family portraits. Back in the 1980s, getting a
Sorry,
family
guys.
portrait wasn't something casual. It was an event. No smartphones, no selfies. If you wanted a nice photo, you had to dress up, fix your hair, and head to a professional photo studio.
Oh my gosh. This is just too much.
And, oh boy, the result.
Okay. I do remember family portraits being just and glamour shots. Olin Mills, everybody did glamour shots. So I will share a part of me with you, my lovely people. All right. I don't know how much it'll thing, but that is my mother and her glamour shot. And this is my sister and I in our 80s family photo. Right? My hair looks so good. I had that banging
were unforgettable. Think teased up hair stacked sky high, shoulder pads
Mm-hmm.
that could rival a linebacker's, and sweaters so loud they practically screamed. But it wasn't just the fashion. What really pushed these portraits into cringeworthy territory were the awkward poses. Floating heads superimposed over serious stares, hands on shoulders in the stiffest possible way, and everyone looking like they were auditioning for a cheesy soap opera. Some families even color coordinated outfits, usually in matching
Yeah.
neon or pastel, that made them look like backup dancers for a Huey Lewis video. These photos were meant to show unity and love, but now they mostly show how hilariously offbeat the 80s really were. Don't
Oh,
believe it?
wow.
Just search awkward 80s family portraits online. There's an
Yeah.
entire internet subculture dedicated to collecting these wonderfully terrible masterpieces. And honestly, we kind of love them for.
Oh, I don't know what their situation is, but I mean, we've heard of sister wives. Is this like brother husbands? It seems as though they are. And that's probably the most awkward smile I've ever seen. Huh? To each his own. Go ahead and swing on over there.
How authentically weird they are. Which of these 80s trends did you proudly rock back in the day? And which one makes you cringe the most now? Crimped hair. If there's one hairstyle that screams I lived through the 80s, it's crimped hair. Though it first popped up in the late 70s, thanks to Barbra Streisand and a Hollywood stylist named Jerry Cosenza. It was the 1980s that turned this wild zigzag style into a full-blown obsession. With a hot iron that pressed hair into tiny, sharp waves, women everywhere were trading in their smooth, straight locks for a look that said, I'm bold, I'm loud, and I'm totally on trend. Crimped hair became the thing. You'd see it on music videos, red carpets, school photos, and everywhere in between. It didn't matter if you were a teenager or a mom. If you had hair, chances are, you crimped it. Looking back, reactions are pretty
Yep.
mixed. Some people laugh at old photos and say, what were we thinking? Others still look back fondly, calling it fun and fearless. And maybe that's
It
why,
was.
every 10 to 15 years, crimped hair tries to make a comeback.
Oh, let's just go ahead right now and have a little moment of silence. Depending on when you're watching this, we recently lost Bonnie Tyler, and she played a huge role in so many different things, but having to do with the 80s. But I read an article, and it said that knowing she knew she wasn't going to live through her illness. She last kind of thing that she put out there was that when I'm gone and you start to think of me, put on Totally Clips to the Heart. Kind of weird, kind of creepy, but still.
Even if only for a minute. Suits with pastel shirts and ties. Let's be honest, on Miami Vice, pastel suits looked incredible. Don Johnson's Crockett and Philip Michael Thomas's Tubbs could pull off pale pinks, baby blues, and soft lavenders like they were born for it. The open collars, the effortless cool, it just worked on screen. But for the rest of us, not so much. Inspired by the show's runaway popularity, everyday folks across America tried to bring that pastel swagger into their own wardrobes. Out came the mint green shirts, the lavender ties, and the off-white sport coats. Unfortunately, instead of looking like TV detectives chasing criminals on South Beach, most of us ended up looking like we were headed to a wedding reception in a soap opera. This look was so tied to Miami Vice that you couldn't wear a pastel suit without someone joking, "Hey, where's your speedboat, Crockett?" It was stylish, in a very specific, very 1980s kind of way.
Yeah.
And unless you had the swagger to match, it was easy to end up looking like you'd borrowed your cousin's prom outfit. Still, there's no denying, when done right, pastel suits had attitude. Just maybe not for everyday wear. Sweaters draped over shoulders. Ah yes, the ultimate 80s symbol of prep school privilege.
Preppies.
The sweater, not worn, but draped oh so carefully over the shoulders. It didn't matter if it was 80 degrees outside or snowing sideways. If you were
And
part of
popped
the preppy
collars.
crowd, you knew the drill. Instead of wearing sweaters the normal way, on your arms and torso like a regular human being, the fashion-forward elites of the decade treated them like oversized scarves. Tied loosely around the neck or tucked just enough to show the designer label, these sweaters became more of a statement piece than a source of warmth. It was all about the look. Clean, polished, and unmistakably upscale. Whether you were on the tennis court, sailing with friends, or just pretending to do either, that sweater around the neck move screamed, "I'm classy, I'm confident, and I probably go to an Ivy League school." Looking back, though, it's a bit confusing. If it's cold, just wear the sweater. If it's hot, why bring it at all? But logic took a back seat to style in the 1980s, and for the preppy elite, those draped sweaters were non-negotiable. Velcro sneakers. Do you have strong feelings about shoelaces? Maybe you thought they were just too much hassle. Well, you weren't alone, because in the 1980s, Velcro sneakers swept in like a miracle from the future. People loved them. No tying, no double knots, no tripping over loose laces. Just slap them shut and go. For a generation trying to save time and look stylish
Why?
doing it, Velcro felt like the ultimate upgrade. Comfortable, supportive.
Okay, it felt like the upgrade until the first time that you washed them. Because when you wash them and you get them out, you have two big problems. First one that you have is all the stuff that you washed and any little hairs or pieces of lint or anything like that is stuck inside all of those little Velcro loop hoops. And second, the part that folded over onto it would curl up. So then you just look like an idiot with furry feet. Let's not do Velcro until it's necessary. I've never seen a 12-year-old out of necessity wear Velcro shoes. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know.
And, at the time, considered pretty trendy, especially on white leather sneakers with flashy stripes or space-age vibes. But let's be honest, Velcro didn't stay cool for long.
Nope.
The straps wore out, the hooks got filled with lint and dirt, and worst of all,
I promise you, I did not watch this ahead of time. I lived it. So don't come at me saying, "Oh, you must have watched this." No, I lived it. I had one pair of Velcro shoes. Never again. Nope.
they started to look kind of childish. That rip-rip sound when you took them off didn't help either.
Yep.
Before long, Velcro sneakers went from high-tech to, "Hey, are those your kids' shoes?" Today, they're still around, mostly for toddlers and folks looking for pure convenience. And hey, we're not judging. But back in the 80s,
But you
Velcro
are.
sneakers weren't just practical. For a hot second, they were the future. Parachute pants. Let's clear something up right away. Parachute pants are not the same as MC Hammer pants. While Hammer
No.
rocked those big, billowy trousers in the early 90s, parachute pants from the mid-80s were a different beast altogether. Tight-fitting, shiny, and made almost entirely of nylon. The name? It came from the material, lightweight, swishy nylon. This
Yes. But they were the loudest clothing you could possibly wear. Every time you'd go somewhere, you'd start walking around, I'd be like, you couldn't rob somebody if you were wearing parachute pants. No. They could hear you coming a mile away.
same kind used to make actual parachutes. And yes, when you walked, they made that distinctive swish-swish sound with every step. Originally designed for functionality in breakdancing, since nylon helped reduce friction with the floor, these pants quickly became a street fashion staple. Suddenly, you didn't need to be a b-boy spinning on cardboard to wear them. All you needed was confidence, and maybe a Walkman blasting Run DMC. Looking back, it's easy to laugh. They were loud in every sense, visually, audibly, and stylistically. But back in the day, parachute pants were the ultimate way to say, I've got moves, even if I don't actually break dance. Today, no one's really wearing them, except maybe ironically at an 80s party. But for a brief moment, these shiny nylon wonders were cooler than cool. Thank you for watching. To continue with more content,
Oh,
comment
sorry.
yes to let us know you're still following.
Look, it's just crazy. Obviously, at this point, I'm going to be honest and tell you that this is going to be more than 2 parts because I don't know how much we made it through, but I will make sure to notate the next time is for part 2. But it's fun to look back and see all the different stuff that was there in the 80s. And it's sad to see how much of it is like gone. I mean, we had a great time in the 80s, but we also had a lot of things too that they don't have nowadays. You know, a sense of humor, a need to be able to just go and do and have fun and be free, and you don't have to take pictures or videos of everything that you did to prove that you did all of these things. You know, it's one of those things where you can sit back with a friend years later and laugh and talk about stories of the stupid shit that you did back then. And there's nothing to pull up on the internet of it, but you both know the stories. And that's what I think, we kind of lost a bit of that connection with people. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I know that growing up, when we grew up in the 80s, 70s, 80s, by the time 90s came around, I was having kids, and I just really, really miss. Oh, God, look at my eyes. I'm sorry, y'all. Didn't know I was coming in here looking like that. Um, but I really miss the America that I grew up in. And I am so sad that the youth now is not going to be able to experience that carefree, all of it. So, but that's just me. So I will definitely be back with part 2 and continue on. And I hope you enjoyed yourself and hopefully you were able to bring back a few memories. If you do, let me know down below and we'll read them, we'll go over it. And if there's anything that you want me to look at that maybe you experience that you want to share with me, then I would be honored. So, but until then, I guess the only thing I can do is say come on back, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of those things. And just have fun with me. All right, guys. I will see you again, and I will see you next time.